Welcome to our conference session this morning. You are here to listen to Human Resources, a new approach to training and skills development. My name is Michelle Turpin. I will be moderating today. I'm with Arlook Consulting, and my colleagues, we are all moderating all of the conference sessions today. So a quick thank you to our conference hosts, AANDC and Canor. So I'll start. Now we have 3 presentations. So each of our speakers will present, and then we will have a question and answer period at the end. We know that investment in our most important resource is recognized as an essential part of business success. The speakers today will discuss how they are investing in this, the most precious of all of the resources in the North, our people. Our first speaker is Ms. Anne-Marie Vaughan. Anne-Marie was appointed President and CEO of the College of the North Atlantic in 2011. Prior to that, she had more than 20 years of leadership experience in strategic planning and change management. Ms. Vaughan has held positions at Memorial University, the Marine Institute of Memorial University, the National Research Council, the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, and the Newfoundland and Labrador Department of Human Resources, Labour and Employment. So welcome, Ms. Anne-Marie Vaughan.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. And I really want to thank the organizers for the invitation to speak at Northern Lights 2014. And CNA is proud to be a sponsor of Northern Lights. And we have 6 people attending this event to network, learn, and to forge new partnerships with everybody here in the next couple of days. Over the next 15 minutes, I'll take you through a brief journey of my CNA, College of the North Atlantic, one of the most vibrant, wonderful organizations that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. I will be highlighting along the way some of the interesting things we're doing in the North. Our focus is developing the Labrador's most important natural resource, its people. To do that, we've had to embrace many challenges, distance, cultural differences, shifting industry needs, and the ever-present resource limitations. Through all of this, we are poised to be relevant and responsive to the needs of our northern communities. Let me say to you in advance that I'm scripted today, which is not the norm for me, to keep me on a 15-minute timeline. And so I apologize that up in front. I usually speak off the cuff a little bit more. But I will start by just saying how inspired I was at the Students on Ice presentation this morning. I just was thoroughly inspired by what I saw. And I reflected back on my own experience. In 2004, I was privileged to be a participant in the Governor-General's Canadian Leadership Conference. And I had the opportunity to study Nunavut, and I spent 16 days in Arviat, Rankin Inlet, and Iqaluit. And it was absolutely life-changing for me. It was the landscape, but most importantly, it was the interaction with the people, the opportunity to engage in the culture, and to really understand the cultural values, the opportunities and challenges facing those northern communities. What I'm going to talk about today is a new approach to training and development by the College of the North Atlantic. What has evolved and continues to evolve for us is this new approach that I will be sharing with you today. I'll be starting with a quick overview of our college to place us in context, and spend a little bit of time positioning, in some cases repositioning, to respond to changing needs across the province and in particular in the North. And I will touch on assets and challenges as they were instrumental in leading us to where what I really want to talk about today, and that's our innovation and our partnerships to our innovative and partnership approach to delivery. We have been Newfoundland and Labrador's public college for 50 years, and 2014 is in fact our 50-year celebration. Our 17 campuses are located in every region of the province, including Tulle in Labrador and Labrador City in the west, and Happy Valley Goose Bay in the centre east. We offer 100 programs annually through our 5 schools, engineering, technology and natural resources, health sciences, industrial trades, business and IT, and academic, applied arts and tourism. And we have a very vibrant, customized training activities through our contract training and continuing education division. Our students come from all walks of life, and our graduates work in all industries and sectors of the province and beyond. We have more than 25,000 learners enrolled annually in our Newfoundland and Labrador operations and serve 4,000 learners in our international campus in Doha, Qatar, and 1,500 students through our partnerships in China. We are also active in international development projects with a learning and development focus, most recently in Guyana and Antigua, and we are about to embark on an exciting opportunity in Vietnam. Our assets include 17 campuses, 100+ programs, and a variety of forms of delivery. Our program delivery is now spanning multiple methods, from traditional in-class settings to distance and online delivery, and more recently, new blended approaches, combining to provide both better access for students at different locations and reduced but concentrated time on with instructors on site. We're getting better at being more mobile, flexible and targeted at student and local industry needs. Where we can, we are drawing on the provincial network and are expanding national and international resources to address challenges, find and pilot new solutions, and try different approaches. What we have been doing is leveraging our people, technology and infrastructure to create know-how and then applying what has been created in real-world settings. Sometimes ruffling a few feathers along the way by challenging the way we deliver our programs, using our collective assets for the benefit of the people in our province. We have been preparing for some time. Part of the preparation has been the ongoing provincial investment in upgrades to our buildings, shops, labs, and new equipment. More recently, we've been challenging our program mix to ensure a better match with student and industry demands, reducing seats where trends show we need to, and reallocating those resources to high demand areas, and researching and introducing new programs linked to provincial and national needs. We are constantly striving to do more with the resources we have, utilizing different start dates other than the traditional academic cycle where feasible, and piloting multi-campus delivery to maximize student access and get more use out of our resources. For example, extending our hours of operation and having delivery offerings in the evening. And we're taking our partnerships with industry and the communities we serve into new areas to help us plan realistically for the future and, most importantly, deliver with results. In the North, this has meant challenging our facilities and faculty to work and look beyond the traditional. The province and federal government has invested heavily in us. A new Lab West campus was completed in 2011. The state-of-the-art, LEED certified, purposeful facility is a wonderful addition to the region. And Happy Valley Goose Bay has been extensively renovated over the years to maintain modern shop requirements, as well as serve other local needs, including adding flexible meeting and lecture hall space in support of community activities. Happy Valley Goose Bay is our largest northern campus, currently serving 256 students this year, the majority in full-time credit-based programming. We also serve a number of coastal communities out of this campus through our outreach learning centres in Northwest River and other locations. Our Lab West campus serves the communities of Walbush and Labrador City, with students drawn almost exclusively from that area. I will say that perhaps our biggest challenge in getting greater access for our students in both of these communities is available housing for our students to be able to access, and affordable housing for our students. The cornerstone of our Labrador strategy is our focus on diversity. This includes our ability to customize programs, support our students, especially our Aboriginal students, with transitional and individualized bridging programs, providing multiple pathways to education, including university transfer courses, and supporting leadership development with our students and also in the community. We take our Aboriginal culture and people seriously. They are our growth base and the future of the region. We've been honoured to have formed some good working relationships with the Innu and Inuit governments, and we will continue to build on these cornerstone of our human resource development and training strategy in Labrador. Close connections with local communities are central to recruiting and successfully supporting our northern students through program completion, and that's why we've put in place an Aboriginal education policy that you see in the slide above me. Campus programming in both Lab West and Happy Valley Goose Bay is driven by and reflective of local industry and employer needs. And these are just two examples of what we're doing with industry partners in the region, from blended delivering approaches with the Timmins project to simulation training of safe drivers for the Iron Ore Company of Canada. Nalcor is one of our main partners, and we are very excited about the relationship we have built and continue to build with Nalcor to ensure that every Labradorian who wants an opportunity to access employment has the access to training opportunities to enable them to do so. Our Labrador training agenda for the past couple of years and into the next 2 to 3 years is very much driven by the Muskrat Falls hydroelectric development project. But the Falls is not the only major resource project in the area. We also have iron and nickel mining, the Trans-Labrador Highway development, fairly heavy mineral and oil and gas exploration activity, and healthy and growing service sector. This list is just an example of the immediate and emerging training needs we'll be addressing at our Happy Valley Goose Bay campus. In Lab West, our relationship and partnership with IOC is well known, and we welcome new partnerships in the community to support the growing economy. I'm going to skip this slides because I notice that we have 5 minutes left, and I really want to get to some of the new approaches that we're using. This slide is a listing of our partnerships in the Happy Valley Goose Bay region. And what I found phenomenal when I got this listing from the campus was this represents the partners from October to December of 2013. So when you start to look at the partnerships that we need in the region to do with what we're doing, we just can't work without the partnerships in place. And the partnerships is the most valuable part of the experience in order for us to give the best experience to our students. And what I will try to leave you with is my personal belief that we can't do things the way we've always done them in the past. We always have to be relevant to who the students are today so that we're focused on who their success and what their success really means. And we have been doing things a little differently over the last little while. By blended delivery of apprenticeship training for heavy-duty equipment technician, we had students that stayed in Labrador City, were trained through our instructor at the Bay St. George campus, through their apprenticeship, and what it meant is that the students didn't have to leave the community to be able to engage in their learning. They didn't have to leave the workforce. They went into class in the morning and back to the worksite in the afternoon. And 100% of students were successful with this apprenticeship delivery. There are new ways of doing things that are relevant to the students that we need to provide those to. We're also taking advantage of the fact that we have 17 campuses, and what a rich resource that provides to everyone in the province. Our heavy equipment operator program is being offered in partnership from St. Anthony to Bay St. George, where students in St. Anthony do the theory component and move to Bay St. George for the practical component. And last year, we had 6 students in the machinist program in Placentia. This year, we paired Placentia with Prince Philip Drive. We have 16 students in that program. We're moving the students back and forth on bus between the 2 sites. This is the highest enrollment we've had since 2008. And our efforts are seeing results. On the international front, the blended delivery model that we've put in place between Lab West and Bay St. George has won 2 international awards in the last 6 months. One from the Sloan C Effective Practice Award, and the second from the National University Telecommunications Network. I'm going to show you a video, which is why I was trying to rush to make sure I got here, because this video, which was a story done by CBC, really tells from the perspective of the instructor and the perspective of the students, the value of delivering things differently. I apologize a bit for the video quality because to make the video larger, it's a little fuzzy, but you'll certainly get the main threads. Oh, maybe not. Yeah.
The College of the North Atlantic is using some innovative technology to help apprentices get their training. It's helping the Iron Ore Company of Canada keep its workers close to home. Here now's Jeremy Eaton explains.
High pressure, low pressure side, always divided.
Typical trade school scene here. 5 fellas figuring out the inner workings of heavy machinery. But it's not just these guys. There's another group listening, watching, learning live in Labrador.
I have 5 students in my classroom with me in person, and then I have 6 more students through real-time distance learning sitting at a campus in Lab West.
Instructor Greg Ryan was approached by IOC with a problem. The iron ore giant wants workers to educate themselves, but that meant lower staffing levels.
Relieving IOC of the stress of having to send apprentices here. They had a major issue that sometimes they would send so many apprentices out, encouraging their education and advancement in their career, they would leave themselves depleted of almost an entire shift.
Then came the innovative idea. Ryan teaches here using a smart board, a monitor, and a movable camera. Students in Stephenville Crossing and Labrador West see the same stuff. So workers here don't have to leave home. IOC keeps part-time workers. The only challenge, it seems, is for the teacher.
It takes a bit of work. You got to be able to engage them. You need to make it interactive. The type of learner that most tradespeople are, including myself, I can't sit here and listen to somebody talk. You'll lose me in 5 minutes, and most tradespeople are like that.
24-year-old Ryan Doyle is from Bay Roberts, so he drives a long way on the weekends, leaving behind his family and friends. He rents a room in Stephenville Crossing in order to get this training block.
Personally, from my opinion, coming out here is a big thing, right? Financially and leaving work and coming out here. So hopefully one day I can do it on the East Coast.
For now, the classmates who have never met make jokes and get through the work. It's an innovative program with a lot of potential in his eyes.
This is a win situation for everybody involved. The apprentices win, government's winning, and industry can win. And right now it's with IOC, but we're going to explore and we're going to go further, hopefully reaching places like Voisey Bay, Fort McMurray, diamond mines up north. It's limitless what we can do.
But theory is just one part of this. The hands-on training comes next, meaning Ryan will leave the classroom in Stephenville Crossing and fly to Labrador City. And there, he'll use equipment purchased for this training by IOC. Jeremy Eaton, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Nobody tells the story better than students themselves and instructors themselves. If you ever get a chance to meet Greg Ryan, the young faculty member we have here, he's absolutely inspiring. He's from Goose Bay himself. And his delivery approach that he's leading with the College of the North Atlantic is life-changing for the students that we're delivering this to, and it's successful. And that's what we're all about in the College of the North Atlantic. I have 5 colleagues here in the audience. I'd like you just to let everybody know who you are. So if you get a chance in the next couple of days, I encourage you to talk to these individuals. These are the people that make things happen. I'm just the proud person who gets to tell the story of the College of the North Atlantic. It's the people here in the room with me that really make these partnerships happen. We do have challenges that we face over the next number of years, and primarily they are from infrastructure. Our campuses are sometimes older than the 50 years of which we've existed. And of course we have major infrastructure challenges that come from that. And just as you're trying to service the hot markets, we're trying to attract instructors from those hot markets. And that is sometimes challenging in terms of providing the right salary package and benefits package to those instructors. And we're getting better in how we do labor market information, and that's extremely difficult to do. Trying to measure student demand with industry demand and needs with available programming is extremely complex. On the surface it may look simplistic, but it's not an easy thing to do. But we've got amazing results. In just 4 months, our enrollment has gone up 8.8%, and our waitlist to the college have gone down 20%. These are the real results that we're showing to the community, and it's the partnerships with you that really make it happen. So thank you for the opportunity to talk today. I welcome the opportunity to talk about any of this in the College of the North Atlantic in the next 3 days.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. Next we have Krystel Marin. Krystel is a graduate of Laval University with a degree in Industrial Relations. She is currently the Human Resources Superintendent at Agnico Eagle's Metabank mine in Nunavut. Krystel joined Agnico Eagle in 2008 and has been at the Metabank mine for more than 3 years as part of the Human Resources team. Prior to joining this team, she worked at Agnico Eagle's Regional Administrative Office, where she worked on various human resources projects. So welcome, Krystel.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you all for being here this morning and showing interest in new training initiatives. That's a great opportunity and a real pleasure for me to be here this morning and to represent our company. It's our first participation in this event, and we're very happy to be here. So today together we'll review some of our most innovative and successful initiative in training. But first I'd like to take the time to introduce you our company. So Agnico Eagle is a Canadian-based mine company. We're a gold producer with over 50 years experience in mining. We are located in mainly Canada, but we also have operations in Finland and Mexico, and some projects in USA and South America as well. We employ a total of 6,000 employees around the world, and we're also selected as one of the best companies in Canada. We're also a company that is really dedicated to the North. As you can see, 56% actually of our resources are coming from projects in the North, in the Arctic. We have our Kittilä mine in Finland, as I mentioned, and we also have our Metabank mine, which is actually our biggest gold producer, and which division we'll talk more about today. We also have another project ongoing in Rankin Inlet, Nunavut, the Mayrand project that we expect will become an operating mine in a couple of years. The Metabank itself mine is, as I mentioned, our largest gold producer. We are expecting producing over 400,000 ounces of gold this year in 2014. That's huge for our company. We're located in Nunavut, close to Baker Lake, our closest community. And we employ over 800 people, which we have 30% of Inuit content. We're also the only operating mine in Nunavut right now, and you will see that it brought some challenges that we try to solve with our different training initiatives. In regards to manpower, 51% of our employees are from Quebec, where we have a big history. And there's also a good expertise, mining expertise in Quebec, so it's why most of our employees are coming from there. As I mentioned, 31% of our employees are Inuit, and the rest is mostly coming from Ontario, where we also have a good labor pool with mining expertise. There we go. So 96% of our Inuit employees are coming from the Kivalliq region, where we are located. The rest of the employees are based in the south. Following their hiring, they were all hired while they were living in Kivalliq, but they decided to move after. Some of them are in Ottawa, and some other in Montreal and Winnipeg. And that's something we try to facilitate if they wanna move south. 68%, as I mentioned, are coming from Baker Lake, which is our biggest labor pool right now in the Kivalliq. And the most important stats that I want here to mention is that 40% of our Inuit employees right now are in skilled jobs. That means all jobs that are not entry-level jobs like janitor jobs and labor jobs. Our main focus, our main objective with all of our initiatives is to increase that percentage, because it's the only way for us to increase at the same time our Inuit content, because right now all of our entry-level jobs are filled with Inuit. So you'll see that with our different initiatives, that's what we're aiming for. Most of them are in heavy equipment operator job, and the large majority of them were trained by our company at site. We also have a good amount of employees in entry-level jobs, as I mentioned. Now, most interesting part, training and employment initiatives. You can see here all of our most important pillars, values in our company. These are trust, respect, equality, family, and responsibility. And I put them there by intent because all of our programs were based in respect of these important values, and that's what defined the best our company. To give you a bit of a background, okay, being the only operating mine in Nunavut, of course, brought some challenges at the beginning. We came to Nunavut with really good intention, with a good mining background, mostly underground, excuse me. And we came to Nunavut with these good intentions to start an open pit mine, which was our first experience in the Arctic with such cold temperature like Nunavut. That was also our first experience, because even though Kittilä is in the Arctic, it's still a lot warmer than Nunavut is. So we didn't have that experience. So we struggled a lot at the beginning. But what the most important is that we learned a lot from these experiences to get to a lot of good achievements that I'll present you a bit later. Part of these HR challenges, and that we also live with still now, is to the access to a skilled labor force. There's not a lot of mining expertise in Nunavut at this time, so it's almost impossible for us to hire engineers. Actually, it's impossible to hire professionals that are Inuit. We are able to find a few heavy equipment operators, but really hard to find trades as well. So that's part of our biggest challenge. And that's directly linked to the level of education or the level of a successful graduation in Nunavut right now, and especially in Quebec, where we're based. So it's also part of our challenges. I should also mention that absenteeism and turnover were also big challenges. They are still challenges at this time, but once again, you'll see later that we were able to work it out pretty well with our different initiatives. So what we had to do basically is that we had to reorganize ourselves totally as a company, to think outside the box, to find new ways to keep our good people and to attract the best employees. Even though they didn't have the technical skills, we were looking for the person with the good attitude and the good work ethic. So it's how we develop our main tool, our Karapot. And that's really the basics of all of our training strategy. That's an innovative program that, from our knowledge, doesn't exist. We couldn't in any way find it anywhere else to try to benchmark. It's focused on people with no mining-related experience. So basically, it gives our Inuit employees all the opportunities to go from a janitor job to a heavy equipment operator job, to a driller job, and eventually to a mechanic job. So this is what it looks like, our Karapot. I won't go into all details, but what's the most important here is that it's really a transparent tool where our employees can start and see exactly what they have to do to progress from a labor job to a skilled job. And that's based on that we will increase our 40% ratio of skilled Inuit employees. I'd also like to mention that this was developed by our team at Metabank, and when you look at the total number of years that are required to go from an entry-level job to a skilled job, actually the most skilled hourly job at Metabank is 6.5 years. So an employee who starts from scratch, and a lot of them have never even driven a vehicle in their life before they start at Metabank, can go to the most skilled job in 6.5 years. In South, in mining, you can expect at least 10 to 15 years to access to the same level of job. So this is a great opportunity that we're offering, and this is why we're so happy and proud about that. And you can see here just a zoom of what it is. For each step, we define the competencies we were looking for, because once again, not having a proper program, there was a perception of unfairness of our previous program, which also had really not really good results. So since then, we have really improved our results on this side. On top of that, we also developed other programs. We have to mention the work readiness training program. One of the reasons why we failed at some point is that we were not preparing our people properly. A lot of our employees didn't have a job like the one that they are aiming for at Metabank, but mostly they never worked in a remote site on a fly-in, fly-out schedule, being away from their families for 2 weeks at a time, working 12 hours a day, waking up at 6 in the morning. That makes a lot at the same time. So we were not preparing them properly, so we were not making sure they could succeed. So that's why we decided to develop our own work readiness training program that is now delivered in the communities. So the people are having the right information prior to employment. We're also right now, our priority is to work on literacy and numeracy, because that's one of the major barriers for people to progress. What we want to do with the support of our partners is to embed this literacy and numeracy skills in our Karapot, so we can prepare our people to access to supervisor position, for example, which is right now very difficult for them. And finally, we cannot pretend that we can do everything by ourselves. We cannot only work on adults either. We need to start right from school to prepare the next generation. We want to be in Nunavut for a long time. Our Mayrand project has at least a life of mine of 10 to 15 years. So it's time right now to prepare the next generation. So it's why we're also working at the school level to enhance the awareness, the interest of students for mining, but more than that, to prepare them to change the curriculums to make sure they can succeed and access some more education after high school. My best, the part I prefer the most now are success stories, because all of that really brought some good achievement, and that's important too. We're a mining operation. We have to still produce gold at the end of the day. So these initiatives still have to make us successful on this side as well. So one of my favorite, guess why? Progression of women at Metabank. 2 years ago, we didn't have any women in non-traditional jobs. We had still a good amount of women, but they were all in entry-level jobs, mostly working as chambermaids and dishwasher. We decided that we wanted to change that, and that was becoming a priority. Now we have 32% of our Inuit employees who are women. This is, we think, a great achievement, considering that we are a remote operation, working away from their families, considering the role of women in families in Nunavut. This is really important. 30% of them are in non-traditional jobs, mostly heavy equipment operator. As you can see, 20 heavy equipment operator now. 2 years ago, we didn't have any. So imagine the potential of the programs and the results that we can expect in the future. One of them is a trainer. She's basically Anna training Southerners, guys from South who have experience, but she's training them on our equipment, on our standards. And when I'm thinking about that, I can't stop thinking about Jody and Alma, two of our most committed employees that are really showing the success of this program. Jody started as a trainee without any experience, coming from Coral Harbor, a tiny community in the Kivalliq. She's now an auxiliary equipment operator, being with us for 3-4 years now, and she progressed her way inside the company. We gave her the tools to do so. Alma is another example. She was one of our stars. She was a janitor. We could see the potential in Alma, and through our Karapot, we were able to make her progress. She recently had a little boy, and even though she left for a couple of months and showed that it was possible to combine a family and a good paying job at Metabank. So this is another success. Retention of trainees, it's another great achievement. I mentioned earlier that turnover was a real problem, a real challenge. It was no different for our trainees. Before our career path and all of our new approach, we were able to keep only 58% of our people. Now with our career path, we're now at 92%. Imagine the impact on the operations in terms of costs, energy saving, and time. Now we can dedicate on making these people progressing, because when they were leaving, they could not progress anymore. They were out of the system. Now we are able to retain them and make them progress. That's huge. And finally, retention in general. Our turnover rate was of 25%. A quarter of our employees were leaving every year in 2011. We were not successful at all. And once again, thanks to our career path that we started implementing in 2012, we were able to reduce that to 16%, which was still very, very important. But a year after, we're down at 60%, of 50% again. So 8% is very comparable to what Southerners, the Southerner rate is right now, and it's very acceptable for a remote location, remote operation like we are. So once again, thanks to all of our efforts, the training initiative, the transparency of these initiatives, we were able to succeed. In conclusion, I'd like to reaffirm that our company is really committed to the North. We see a lot of potential. We want to continue being a big player. Our next step, as I mentioned, is to make progress our people. That's where we are at. We kind of develop all the basics. Now we want to raise it of another level. And eventually, our biggest objective is to do like in our other operation in Mexico and Finland, and having only people from there managing our mines, which is impossible right now in Nunavut, but we know that with our next project coming, we will achieve that, and we'll have managers and superintendents that will be Inuit people. And just in conclusion, I'd like to mention, along this journey, we could count on important partners, and I see one of our partners here in the room, and I have to mention that the Kivalliq Mine Training Society made a big difference in all of that. We were able to get great support financially, but also in bringing all the partners together, and that really made the difference. So that's about it. I really want to thank you for your time this morning, and I'm available for questions after.
Thank you, Krystel. Our next speaker, Ms. Maria Moran, has been working with Nalcor Energy since 2007 as the Industrial Benefits Lead on the Lower Churchill project. A board member since 2009, representing Nalcor Energy on the Labrador Aboriginal Training Partnership. And this is a partnership with Innu Nation, Nunatsiavut Government, Nunatu Kavut Community Council, and Nalcor Energy. The mandate of this partnership is to prepare Aboriginal people for opportunities associated with resource-based industry, specifically employment opportunities associated with the construction of the Lower Churchill hydroelectric project. Prior to working with Nalcor, Maria worked on various construction projects associated with the development of Newfoundland and Labrador's oil industry in a labor relations capacity and gender equity and diversity role. She's been a board member with various groups advocating for diversity and gender equity on heavy industrial projects. So welcome, Maria.
Hey. Excuse me, everyone hear me? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little today, I guess, about our recruitment and retention of those adjacent to our resources. The Lower Churchill project, as I can speak about, if I can get my thing moving. Okay, there we go. Okay, the Lower Churchill project is a hydro development project in Labrador, as well as a transmission line which will run through the island. We will generate about 824 megawatts of hydroelectricity power. As well, we will build 1,100 kilometers of transmission line across the island. So essentially, we are a big construction project. I guess unlike mining, as we just heard about, a construction project, the timelines are very short. And as we'll speak about, we rely heavily on our partners to ensure that those adjacent to the resource optimize their opportunity. There's a picture of our facility right here. Employment on the Lower Churchill project will peak in 2015 at about 3,186 bodies, and that's an estimate from last year. So as you can tell, we are quite large. However, as you look, by 2016, we are down to 18,098, and by 2017, we shall be producing first power, and our workforce requirements will be down to 500 or so, and in operations, we will have an operational workforce of about 40 to 60 people. So construction, you can see a peak, and then, of course, we go down quite dramatically. However, it's very important to us, and I think to the communities where we do work, is that those adjacent to the resource get the opportunity to work. And they can get transferable skills, which they can carry on to other projects, whether in their backyard or further afield. On our project, we have what we call an adjacency principle or a hiring protocol. So Nalcor Energy has an adjacency principle for employment. And for work in Labrador, qualified members of Nation, as per our IBA, have first opportunity for employment. So this is a very important clause in the IBA because it ensures that members of Nation get the opportunities to participate in this project. Then, of course, we have qualified members and residents of Labrador, and that includes two other Aboriginal groups, which are Nunatsiavut and Nunatsiavut. And then we go to qualified residents of the island, and then qualified Canadians. It's very important to kind of highlight the word qualified. Contractors determine qualifications. So it's very important that we understand, as we know, and I look around this room, that we understand what the qualifications of contractors are. So training for construction has to be very targeted. We don't have a lot of time, and we can miss opportunities in a matter of weeks, and we know that. However, with training that suits our contractors' qualifications, the opportunities are immense. We're talking big money jobs. We're talking for the potential, it may be 6 to 8 months work, you can make $100,000. So this is something that local folks really want to take advantage of, and to ensure that they have skills that can be taken somewhere else. Contractors and unions must adhere to these hiring protocols. It's in our contractual language, it's in our collective agreement. So this is not just something that's nice to have, or we would say, yeah, it'd be great if we did this. No, this is a contractual obligation by both our contractors and our unions. Here's a clause from our collective agreement. And it says, in order to meet the obligations applicable to the hiring and retention of qualified Labrador Innu and obligations contained within the benefit strategy, the parties agree that all project partners, including the association, will work progressively to advance participation. And this is very important, and it will not work unless all bodies work together to make this go. And so far, so good. I'm not saying that there hasn't been any hiccups, but we are moving in the right direction. On our project right now, I like to say we've only just begun. We're just starting to mobilize right now, and we will see a dramatic increase in our workforce by summer, fall 2014. But it goes very quickly. As you see, we peak in 2015, and then we're back down again. The Labrador Aboriginal Training Partnership, as was alluded to in my introduction. Without the Labrador Aboriginal Training Partnership, we would not see success in employment of local residents on our project. Luckily, I guess, as a group, the foresight was there to begin training for projects such as ours in 2009. And this was a very big step. In 2009, we didn't even have a project. We hadn't gone through environmental assessment. It was, I guess, a gleam in somebody's eye that we would actually build this project. However, if we did not begin earlier, then I guess if we did not begin in 2009, we would not be able to catch this tremendous wave of employment that is right now. And if I can leave a group with anything, is that, you know, preparation in advance of construction, and specifically for construction, because unlike mining, which has a long operational life, construction, I tell you, you can blink and you can miss it. And if you wait to train until you begin construction, you're going to miss many opportunities. The LATP, I always smile because the successes, and these were just, I guess, in the first round of LATP. And, you know, I look at Keith and Carol who are here in the office, in the audience, and I say, wow, you know, now you're on round 2. So, you know, you can see the numbers there. It was over 900 client assessments between 2010 and 2012. 385 individuals funded and approved training programs. I guess the big story here is 399 clients obtained employment with LATP assistance, and this was prior to project sanction. So these people did not get employment necessarily on the Lower Churchill project. They were working on community projects or community work prior to our project, which enabled us to hit the ground running because prior to Christmas, and I'll get to my stats a little in a couple of more slides, we had over 200 Aboriginal people working on our project. Now, they would not have been there without the work that was done between 2010 and 2012. So currently, the LATP is still banging the drum, has ongoing projects and partnerships with many educational facilities, including the College of North Atlantic, and they include rebar, scaffolding, concrete formwork, truck driver, OHS, tower steel assembly, and safety certifications. I guess the neat thing about those safety certifications is that often you see immediate employment. So folks do, you know, get their safety certifications in place and they go to work almost immediately. So it's a pretty big win. So here are some of our numbers, I guess, as of September, and they're a little bit old now because we do have later numbers, 176 Aboriginal individuals were employed on our project. The last numbers I've seen, I think we were over 200 Aboriginal people were employed on our project. And of course, we're construction, which means it goes up and down. Christmas, we lay everybody off. January, we bring everybody back. It goes up and down. Of the workers at site in Labrador, about 20% of the workers on our job are Aboriginal. And the positions include heavy equipment operators, electricians, truck drivers, carpenters, occupational health and safety, laborers, camp attendants, environmental monitors, engineering, and it goes on and on. Something that is nice to see as well as you walk our job, you'll see Aboriginal people in supervisory and management positions. And there are also some union shop stewards in that mix as well. So, you know, of course, we hope to improve, the continuous improvement model as we move forward on this job. But we feel that we're off to a solid start. And when I say we, I mean the community in general. Our unions, our contractors, the owners, the LATP, the Aboriginal groups. Aboriginal retention, and and we know it, and it's something I think that the mining industry is doing very well when you see the retention rates in mining. I mean, retention is important. It's all right to say, yeah, we can hire, yeah, we can train, but do people stay, and are people happy, I guess, where they work? In our case, layoffs are in the reverse order of the hiring protocol. So as you hire, remember the hiring protocol, Labrador, Innu, residents of Labrador, so on and so forth. The layoffs are in the reverse order, providing the folks meet the qualifications. Aboriginal cultural awareness is mandatory for all projects employees. That includes everybody, I guess, from our staff people in St. John's to every worker that goes onto our site. Specific workplace orientation is provided to some Aboriginal workers as well, upon request. Respectful workplace training, mandatory for all project employees, and this is very important. A respectful workplace, of course, increases retention, but I think it's the right way we should all work. We all have a right to be respected on every job. And that's something, I guess, that we really strive on our project to ensure happens. The project employs an Innu Employment and Training Coordinator and an Innu Liaison Coordinator. We also employ, and this person is in the room, what we call a Benefits Liaison, who pretty much, I guess, if I could get him to look up for a second and smile, The role of this person is to ensure that our contractors and our unions adhere to our benefit strategy. So folks in Labrador will know Bob White, and if they have an issue with employment or something like that, they can give him a call and they will get to the bottom of it. We also employ a gender equity and diversity coordinator as well. So all these things aid in our retention. And again, unions have appointed Aboriginal people as shop stewards, and that is an important piece that we have to support, because folks need to feel that they can go somewhere within the collective agreement. Gender equity and diversity, and this is something that's near and dear, I guess, to our hearts. You know, women are still woefully underrepresented in the construction industry, and even though we look at, I think in the last round of LATP training, about 50% of those trained were indeed female. Again, the numbers trained in what we'll call non-traditional occupation, I guess, lacks in some way. So we do have a gender equity and diversity program. We're very committed, I guess, to ensuring that women and Aboriginal people, visible minorities, and persons with disabilities have an opportunity to participate in our project. And, you know, one of the lines in our benefit strategy states, you know, that this is to optimize benefits for all Newfoundland and Labradorians. And the construction industry traditionally in our province, and I would suspect throughout North America, has been, I guess, a white man's game. So we wish to really kind of ensure that those who wish to participate, that the barriers are reduced. So that's something we want to do. And that's it. Okay, so when we talk about our values, these are very important to us at Nalcor, and I think they're not only Nalcor's values, they're the way we wish to do business, you know, as a group. And we talk of teamwork and open communication, honesty and trust, respect and dignity, safety, of course, is our #1 priority, leadership and accountability. And we know that we face many challenges, everything from program delivery, how do we best train people, everything from our supervisors or superintendents or contractors on site looking in a non-traditional area for a human resource pool of people. But this is the key to making us, I guess, succeed. And when we succeed, everyone succeeds. So I think that's about all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you to all of you. Fantastic presentations. We do have a few minutes for some question and answer. So I would invite anybody that does have a question, if you would like to come up here to the microphone, come on up and we'll, if you have a question that you would like everyone to address, you can just let us know that, or if you have a question for a specific individual, let us know who you would like to answer. Anybody? Come on up.
Good morning. I'm Danny Pottle with Nunavut Government. Just got a question for, I believe it was Anne-Marie from Kona, and with Maria from Nalcor. As we all know, last year the provincial government cut back, I guess, adult basic education programming in the community colleges. I'm just wondering, and I guess it's probably be a little bit too early to determine at this point in time what sort of impact that cutback has had on students entering the college level from now the private sector. Do you see that as a concern, or do you see that there will be any differences in that? And I guess for Nalcor Energy, one of the things that I find kind of interesting is, I mean, you know, your statistics, although I guess you have a right to be proud of them, to me, I'm a little bit concerned about those levels of Aboriginal participation in our employment rates within the Muskrat Falls project. When you reach your operational stage, what percentage of Aboriginal employees do you think will be part of those 557 people that you have earmarked for the operation phase of the project? Thank you.
Maria, do you want to?
Actually, no. In our operations phase, we're looking at about 40 to 80, so we're not looking at 586. We do, of course, in our IBA within a nation, have a percentage of jobs allocated for members of a nation. From a diversity perspective, from an Aboriginal participation, we would like to see a critical mass of 33% of all our workers being Aboriginal.
On the question of adult basic education, we certainly hope that the same students are being serviced from other providers in the province. What I can tell you is our enrollment is up significantly this year. One of the challenges for the college is that we have hundreds of students on wait lists for programs, and so our enrollment is up almost 9%, 8.8, and our wait lists are down by 20%. What I hope is that we need to understand that ABE does fill a gap, but it's not the only gap that we can develop and provide so that we can bring individuals from the experience and knowledge they have now into a labour market prepared program. And the College of the North Atlantic is there to fill that gap. We're not providing ABE, but it doesn't mean that we're not looking at other gaps that we need to provide, either by the college or other partners in the community, to assist someone to be able to enter into labour force ready programs. I can tell you that we're seeing success this year in terms of the number of students that we have in, and that's because we have literally a wait list of 4,000 to 5,000 students that want to come to the College of the North Atlantic in a variety of programs, and we have to be able to provide the opportunities for those students at the same time by respecting the diversity of our program offerings and trying to determine what the appropriate measurement or program or what's required to fill that gap. And ABE is one of those essential parts of filling that gap, but it's not the only part of filling that gap. We have a comprehensive arts and science program. We have other ways in which we fill gaps. And that's part of the dialogue that we're welcome to have with any community at any time in terms of being able to access our programming.
Thank you. Ken, did you have a question?
Hi, my name is Ken Kerr from the Kivalliq Mine Training Society. And my question's for Anne-Marie. I was really impressed by your presentation and what you mentioned about partnerships with industry and communities, customizing, training, innovations and delivery. So I'm fascinated to learn what would have been the drivers for change, and what do you attribute to having succeeded in changing the training system, which can be pretty heavy, and were there any particular governance structures that you put in place to make sure that happened?
Okay, in one case we ignored the governance structures and just plowed ahead to try and do something a little differently. Our students are driving this, and if we want to be responsive to our students and the learners and to the industry, that's what's driving the way to do this. And it struck me that apprenticeship, this notion on apprenticeship-based education that you have to leave work to engage in learning is such an old way to think about learning, that the blend between work and learning is in our lives every day. And so by delivering apprenticeship training, that's one of the examples I showed, to do things differently, it was relevant to the students, it was relevant to the industry in the Labrador West region. They came to us and said, we need 44 journey persons and heavy duty equipment. And we said, well, we have a different way of being able to do that if you want to do it in partnership with us. And it was a bit of risk on their part, a bit of risk on our part, and an outstanding instructor in the part of Greg Ryan. I've worked in the field of distance learning for a long time, and when I met Greg and saw what he had done, I was absolutely and totally inspired by what one individual did to change the whole form of delivery for how we do things at the college. So there's so many things that come together. Part of this is risk-taking, and part of this is just ignoring the other boundaries or barriers that might be in place, and plow ahead and do something a little differently just to see if it works. And the fact that 100% of those students passed that apprenticeship, and some students in that had tried twice before and failed to pass that block, that's proof in the delivery. So.
Thanks to all of you. I think some of the things that I certainly picked up on are being proactive, not reactive, being innovative, and certainly building partnerships. So I want to thank all of you for coming to this session. I want to thank all of you, Anne-Marie, Krystel, and Maria, very much for presenting. The distance education is near and dear to my heart. We have a workshop going this afternoon from 3 till 4 on e-learning, so anyone wants to talk more about that, we're here. So thank you so much. I do have some speaker gifts. They're not right here for me to say, here you go. So a big thank you to them, and then I will ask you to go to the side so I can give you your gifts. Thanks, folks.